Go live. Should be live now. I haven't done a scheduled stream before.
That's tough.
I haven't done a scheduled stream before. This is...
Yeah, you're good, buddy.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Just trying to get my phone all set up because of chat.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. This is just ridiculous.
What is?
I'm looking at the lines because I'm on the live, and this is just ridiculous.
And yeah, I know, right? Like, okay.
Romanov isn't even playing. So like they're bringing in.
Romanov's there.
Yeah, but he's not playing. He's not playing though.
Why not?
He's not playing game one.
Oh, well, he won't play game one, but that's our practice line. That's what they have in the practice line, at least. Like,
yeah.
I don't...
That's so weird.
Like, I can't speak to what guys... Like this is all we have, right? So I can't really say one way or another what is happening, right? So, like, when you look at the Habs team, I think the biggest thing there is that you have depth everywhere, but you don't have that one big player that's really going to take over games and... like really, really, really change the game, right?
There's nobody. There's nobody.
Maybe Gallagher or Suzuki, but like other than that, I don't see much personally. But
whereas like you got Matthews who can change the game, Martin who can change the game, Tavares who can change the game, Nylander who can change the game.
Spencer.
You got four guys already there. Hyman can just get in that corners, dig her up. Foligno has been shown to change games in the playoffs.
Spezza last year in game 4, was it, changed the entire game. And that was because he fought, not because he's doing Spezza things, right?
Yeah.
Like,
John Merrill. Yeah.
Okay, you know what's so crazy, too, is because of my video this morning, or this afternoon, I was looking at old Leaf series. Like, every single game, what happened, whatever. We should have won last year. So much. Like, we really
You should have won last year. You got Korpisalo'd.
No, we didn't. We just couldn't break down their defense.
You got Korpisalo'd indeed.
I mean, like, if you can't get good quality shots, you're not going to score, let's be honest. Like, I think the biggest issue we had was we weren't scoring. And when that happens, you can't, like... you're not solid, right? Like you can't expect much when you're not getting high quality chances, right? So
you can never expect anything. Well, never expect anything from this team.
Either way, I just like I look at how we've done this season, and I think that either we blow it spectacularly or we do really well.
Which is in least fashion.
Well, I don't expect anything less from them, right?
No, I just think that when you're looking at it, you really don't want Anderson going in the net. You really don't want Anderson. Like you're hoping Campbell plays well at game one.
Yeah, for sure. But
I'm a bit afraid that they're going to play. If you're a Leafs fan, they're going to play Freddie on the back-to-back.
Honestly, I wouldn't be too fussed about playing him on the back.
I wouldn't be fussed, but it's just Freddie. Freddie's that type that it just hasn't played well in the AHL. Really didn't have a good start. First one start in the NHL. Nor did Price either.
So,
but Anderson literally led in 6 goals, and I'm like, what is Freddie doing right now?
Yeah, and I mean, Price led in those goals against the Marlies, which is quite ironic.
Yeah.
So,
it was kind of funny.
Listen, I don't know if we have better goaltending than the Habs. We certainly don't.
But you have better players.
We have better players, but I think the only team I think the Jets have the best goaltending in the North Division by far.
Yeah.
I think we have better goaltending than the Oilers, personally, but
it's between Campbell and Smith. It's close, but then Anderson and Koskinen is anywhere near close. Koskinen has been shocking the past 3 games.
Yeah, I think also you look at Smith and he's literally a hot cold type goalie, and
he was one of the weirdest playoff goalies. He'll either have this unbelievable play, or he'll be absolutely horrible. Remember the Calgary series that they lost to? Who'd they lose to in that one? Was it Winnipeg? No, it wasn't Winnipeg.
Who did Calgary lose to?
They lost 2 years ago when Mike Smith was their goalie, and it was the Avalanche, and he was unbelievable.
Yeah, he was the only.
But they just couldn't do anything.
Team.
They just couldn't do anything.
But Yeah, I think we should focus on the Habs because that's what's in front of us too. But like, if the Habs are gonna sit Cole Caulfield, Kotkaniemi, and eventually Romanov, like I'm not scared of them. Those are the guys I'm scared of the most, personally. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
You want to know why they're not playing them?
ELC?
It's because they want to play like Columbus. They want to play like Boston. They want to play like Washington. They want to beat you up. They want to batter you down.
Can I be honest? I don't think that works anymore for a couple of reasons. One, I look at this Leafs team and I'm like, Foligno, Simmons, Muzzin, Bogosian. Yeah. That's my answer to that.
And Thornton.
And Thornton even, Thornton's like 6'5", 240 pounds of pure unadulterated punch, right? Like the guy's got like a gosh darn Chara stick, and he can't even, and he just throws punches now.
Yeah.
Sorry, person in chat, can you please fix that English? We need Ty to win. We need to win the Stanky Cup this year. Will, we do need to win the Stanky Cup. No, we need to win the Stanley Cup. I agree. I want to. I think that the goal should be to get out of the North Division, plain and simple, and then go from there.
Yes, I think it's always tough to look at. We don't know how good the Central teams are. We don't know how good the East teams are. We don't know how good the West teams are in comparison to the North because we haven't seen anybody play each other.
After I've watched some of the tape, like I've watched Florida's tape, I'm like, I'm not scared of Florida, for one. I'm scared of Tampa. I don't think Florida's getting out, though. I'm scared of Tampa. I don't think Florida's getting out. I'm scared of Tampa because they're $20 million over the cap. But like, other than that,
well, Florida isn't getting out of that series. Florida's not getting out of that series.
What's crazy is some people are telling me Minnesota was better than the Leafs.
Minnesota was good this year. It's tough. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, were they the beneficiary of playing San Jose, LA, St. Louis,
they are,
and Anaheim?
I mean, their goalie is Cam Talbot. Their goalie is Cam Talbot. I'm sorry, but I am not trusting Cam Talbot in this playoff series.
They have played Vegas well in the first two games. They could get out of that series. I think Vegas got the worst matchup they could have because St. Louis is just... I love Ryan O'Reilly, and I'm cheering for the St. Louis Blues, but they are doing nothing in these playoffs.
Yeah, no, they've fallen off a cliff. I think losing Pietrangelo just killed them.
Yeah. They just aren't there. Like, the only reason they were anywhere near the Colorado Avalanche until the third period was because Jordan Binnington was standing on his head, and he might not even be able to play this game.
And he's not standing on his head anymore, right? And you like as much as I love Binnington, because I'm a big Binnington truther, I think our goalies in the Olympics, if we go to the Olympics, should be Binnington, and even after this season, Carter Hart, and then potentially someone else, right? Like
I think we got to see next year with Carter Hart. I think if this is just a blip in the system, or whether it's going to be a continuation.
Oh my God! Okay, first of all, now that I have you live, you need to send me that footage from when we did our NHL predictions because I need to react to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that one thing that going into this series too is who do you think the Habs are starting? They're starting Allen game one, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Probably going to start Jake Allen just because I don't think you can trust, similar to Freddie Anderson, I don't think you can trust in a goalie that hasn't really played that much. I don't know they could start Price just because it's Carey Price.
I mean, listen.
But I think Jake Allen.
I could totally see starting. I could, like, if Freddie wasn't hurt and Campbell wasn't breaking records, I'd honestly see us playing Anderson even after.
That's what I'm saying. I think Price could be playing. I would expect Allen to be playing just because he has been decent enough for them so far. But of course, Campbell is starting for the Leafs, so.
Yeah, and I think that Campbell has proven, like, I know he's had blips and he's had like shaky games and whatever, but he's definitively been a top 10 goalie in the NHL this year. And I think
100%.
And I think that's and that's something that we need. And I think that our players, our out players, are good enough to win a Stanley Cup with a top 10 goalie in the NHL. That is, if that top 10 goalie is up to scratch and our defense hold the line. Because I think that our forwards can compete with Tampa. We've seen that before. We've seen our team actually compete with Tampa before. We've seen our team actually compete with other top forward groups before. I think our forward group is better than Tampa's personally, but I think their defense is better and their goaltending is better.
So their defense. Tampa is just the scariest team to play because, especially just the fact that they have Kucherov back and he's played pretty well.
Well, he got
in the first 2 games.
Yeah, he's been great.
He's been great. Like that's the scariest team to look at because they got 3rd place, but they didn't have Kucherov all season. They had Stamkos injured. Vasilevsky didn't play like most of the time down the stretch.
Yeah.
Because they knew they were getting 3rd. Like, it's tough. Like, I did think Florida was a good team, and I still think Florida was good during the regular season. It's just they're playing a team that's a juggernaut. Like,
don't say that. They're going to get cursed now.
Yeah, probably, but no. But Tampa's a really good team. It's just Florida was just they needed to get that 1st place in the division because getting the Predators was just is a godsend.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that when it comes to the Leafs too, and the North Division as a whole, the minimum expectation for me personally too, because I have to wear a Habs shirt in an Instagram post and a video if they lose the series. Let's not forget.
Oh my gosh, Marchand, no! Oh, Marchand, you buffoon! Nothing. I'm just watching the game. Okay, nothing.
But I have to wear a Habs shirt, post that on Instagram, and make a video wearing a Habs shirt if the Leafs lose the series. Like, I do not want to do that personally. Like, I think that's great. Like, the fact that that's how much confidence I have in this team, which I'm never confident in the Leafs. Like,
I would be shocked if this team doesn't make it out of the North Division.
I would be like,
I think the only chance that you guys don't get out of the North Division is you get Winnipeg and you get Hellebuyck.
Like, I know you and I hadn't met when we lost to Boston the second time, but like, bro, like, I know last year I was really easy because I knew we were gonna lose to Columbus. I had a feeling we were gonna lose to Columbus.
There was just everybody kind of was like, this team does not look good. Like
there was part of me that was like, I was like dejected, but like at the same time I was like, you know what, I'm not angry because I've seen this before and I'm not.
You knew it was coming.
But like Boston, like, you haven't seen me as angry as I've been, and if we lose the series, you know how angry I will be. Like,
I can't believe it if they lose this. There's no reason that this team should lose this series. And we'll tell you this, I am a Leafs hater. Like, I hate the Leafs. And I'm telling you, like, there's Montreal Canadiens fans, like, we'll send this video. They're going to say it, that they're going to win. Everybody is saying that the Leafs are going to win. Like,
well, I had, like, you know who I'm talking about, the Habs fan that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He and I have been talking about the series for weeks now, and he said, I'm obviously going to pick Habs in 6, but he always said to me, he said, the Leafs should win this series. Plain and simple.
And it was so funny. So I heard this thing on Overdrive a couple days ago, and like, so O'Neill, of course, and Hayes are huge Leaf fans because, of course, O'Neill played for the Leafs.
They're harsh Leaf fans. Yeah. They're beyond harsh Leaf fans.
Yes, for sure. And beyond harsh with certain players. They love Austin Matthews, but we'll digress from that. But literally, this one guy calls and he's like, "Why do you guys not talk about? Why is no like?" O'Neill got stopped, and they're like, "Why do you not talk about Edmonton?"
Because
or like the other teams in the North Division, and it's like because Toronto is the team that's most likely going to make it out of the North Division. That's why we talk about Toronto.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's completely reasonable. And like and also their Toronto media, like, there's all that stuff in there. But like,
no offense, I love calling TSN is the Toronto Sporting Network, like.
Yeah, and you can say the same stuff about Sportsnet. Like, like, Sportsnet is just as Toronto fans as anyone else, right? Like, how
I'm not gonna lie to you. The one person I hate the most is Craig Button on TSN. I hate him.
Caleb, this guy is a Sportsnet presenter, right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
You'll see it on the VOD, but like, I got my Steve Dangle book, so like, I don't really see this team when it comes to stepping up. Like, I want to see them step up more than anything. And I like me, I'm kind of like a hockey purist in the sense that I have like a coach. Like, I'm not really a player in the sense as I'm more of a coach because I'm such a bad player. So like, I always look at things from a coaching perspective, and I always want to say like, the Leafs are like there are so many little things with the Leafs that drive me mental.
Yeah.
And it's like I've seen a lot of those ironed out this year. The biggest one I'd say is so many breakaways. That's one reason why I'm so glad Kotkaniemi isn't playing, is because how many breakaways do we give up to that guy?
So stupid.
And you can, you know what? Oh my god! Actually, before I'll come back to this, but like there are little things like that we've really sorted out this year, and and now I watch former Leafs players like Cody Ceci actually not be hot garbage this season.
Cody Ceci has been like decent for the Penguins from the games that I've watched.
He's been a replacement level player this season, which for Cody Ceci is quite a lot.
I'm gonna tell you this: the analytics were correct.
Oh, shut up. What the
analytics were good.
But you know what's
the
crazy?
Analytics were good on them. Yeah.
What's his Kasperi Kapanen also scored a snipe for the first time in his career.
Yeah, but then the next game he literally shot it right at the goalie's chest like 7 times.
That's fine. If he can get 1 in 10 shots to go in, then that's fine. That's what we expected out of him. But no, we trade him. And you know what? Rodion Amirov looks like twice the player.
Rodion Amirov is unbelievable.
Kapanen is
for sure.
Like he looks like he could be like twice the player Kapanen was, and then you get Hollander on top of that. So like, you know, I like that trade has been looked magnifique so far. And you know what? I don't want to think about the offseason right now, but obviously like the Leafs offseason is going to be very interesting, and it's going to be dependent on how we do this year.
100%. And of course, I don't know if you saw this, but Jeff Blashill got extended. Not shocked, but
I mean that's fine. Like it's not anything to like. The big ones are Freddie, Hyman, and is that it? I think that's it. Freddie and Hyman are the biggest ones, and Freddie's gone. And Hyman is gonna get like.
Freddie's gone. Hyman's gonna want like $5 million. Should get $5 million.
I think he'll want four and a half. Like I think that like, but like it's completely dependent on how these playoffs go. Because if Hyman if Hyman has a bad playoff, then he's not going to get as much as he wants, and he's probably gonna we're probably gonna ask him for a hometown discount. So I
don't know if he's gonna take it or not. That's the thing.
That's an off-season problem. Right now, I'm looking at him next to Matthews and Marner, and let me check my channel, because how many months ago did I make that video
about like Hyman? 6 months ago. It was like 6 months ago. It's like 6 months ago.
Was it? 3 months. 3 months. My channel was started 6 months ago. So 3 months ago, I made a video saying that Hyman should be on the first line, and like I know I've had conversations with people about all the bad takes I've had, because I've had plenty of bad takes, that. But like one thing I've seen with Hyman is that guy is not a third line player. This third line looks perfect to me. Like how much of a Mikheyev truther I am, and you know how much of a I'm not the biggest Kerfoot fan in the world, and I'd prefer to see Gauch there over Kerfoot, but I can understand it, right? Personally, I think Gauch has earned a place in this lineup, and it's a shame that he's probably not going to feature that much. I could see him featuring, especially in that back-to-back game, in for like Joe Thornton or something like that. I think that's probably where he would be. Or you bring another
center, or you bring in say you bring in a couple players for like Thornton and Spezza or something like that.
Yeah, I could see Brooks featuring for Spezza in the back-to-back. Yeah. I could totally see things like that happening. But overall, I think Gauch has earned a spot in this lineup. More than a lot of guys.
I think Galchenyuk has played really well, but it's just the fact of playing on a team that's just has so much depth on the forward side.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you. If we can get Galchenyuk for maybe get him in Detroit for 1.5, I'd take it.
Yeah, and I think that one thing with the team like Detroit, where you guys have the cap to spend, and you can spend it on guys who have earned those paychecks. I think Gauch, obviously he hasn't met the ceiling that he's set for himself, but I think that Gauch is someone who could earn a payday, and I'm happy that you guys have paid people like Sam Gagner, because I'm a big Sam.
He's gone. He's gone after this year, though. He's gonna be gone after this year.
I'll take him on the Leafs, but I appreciate you guys people like that sign, because obviously I'm another Sam Gagner truther. He's one of my guys. Yeah. So I'm excited to see I'm disappointed to see Gauch out of the lineup. I am so happy that Engvall is out of the lineup. Holy cow, guys!
Engblom has been so bad. Engblom has been so bad.
He's been bad since he signed his contract extension, and that was last year.
Yeah, he's been really bad. And the funny thing is he signed his contract and he didn't score a single goal for 47 games or something like that.
I know. It's brutal. And
I think the last goal he'd scored before, like he scored like in the 47th game, was on David Ayers.
You know what's crazy too is I think like I could see him being moved in the offseason to someone like you guys.
Yeah, again, all we want is just depth guys that will just play. Because no offense, like, I don't want to win next year. I want Shane Wright.
Like I could totally,
I
could totally see
us I don't want to
packaging Engvall in the 5th for your 7th or something like that, right? Like,
or I don't even want to win in 2 years because I either want Mishkov or Connor Bedard. Like,
you want Owen Power and Shane Wright. Or we're gonna have to do it.
I don't want the first overall pick.
You don't want Power?
It's just no. I there's too much variable. I don't like it. I don't like having the first overall pick because it's like that Yakupov year. I don't want to be the team that's just done like, oh, you pick the first overall pick and he stinks. Like,
yeah, exactly. But like, I think that one thing that you can always say is, it's in a couple weeks. The draft lottery. We'll have to do a draft lottery stream. But like, I think
it's June 2nd.
Yeah, so we'll have to do a draft lottery stream with you because that'll be interesting.
I won't even get mad. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I will not even get mad about about if we drop or anything this year. Like, this year is just, who cares?
Yeah, I
of course I want to be in the top 10, and we'll be there because we're gonna have the 6 best odds. But
I mean, like, listen, the draft lottery, like last year, you guys got boned, and we know that.
Oh, we got screwed. I was pissed. But again, Lafreniere, again, it's his first year, but he didn't look that great. I would have loved to have Stützle, but we didn't even get that. But
which is crazy.
Raymond,
he's the youngest.
Raymond looks. Raymond looks good. I don't know if he'll play next year. Maybe he'll be in Grand Rapids next year. But Seider is definitely playing next year, so I'm excited for that to happen as well.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you guys manage Seider properly, unlike the old league. Luke Shen.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like, when I look at this Leafs team, I just don't see where this team doesn't at least get to the 3rd round. And the only things that I see that could mess them up is that they get goalied. Simple as that. They get goalied.
Especially against the Jets if they make it through.
Yeah. They get goalied. That's the only way this team loses. They just have too much depth on forward. Their defense is comparable.
Yeah.
Comparatively to other years. And if Jack Campbell plays like Jack Campbell's been playing, you ain't beating this team. I mean, it just isn't happening.
The nice thing for us is that if we get out of the North Division, we play either Vegas or Colorado. It's looking like it's going to be. So
but that is
I mean, also, like, those are the two matchups that I want more than I'd like someone on the other side of the
like a Tampa or like a Pittsburgh or a
Washington,
because Washington will just bruise you, but they have like speed in the offense that Montreal doesn't have. Like,
well, yeah, and if you find teams that can keep up with us, like, that's where we'll struggle. But it's like, I feel like the only place where we're outmatched in any way other than is defense and goalie, and defense isn't even by that much of a margin.
I'm gonna tell you this: if I'm you better hope Colorado makes it out of the West Division
rather than Vegas.
I don't think Vegas is a very good matchup for the Leafs.
The thing about Vegas, though, is I think we've played them pretty well over the last couple of years. But
for sure, but this is my thing with it. They have very good defense. I think one of the best defense, if not the best defense in the league.
I'd say Carolina slightly better.
Denver, Carolina, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I said one of the best, if not the best. And they got a decent enough forward core, maybe not as good as the Leafs, but good enough.
I mean, it's good. It's not like I don't think any.
It's not. It's not.
Tavares would be the best
jumping
forward
out.
on that team.
Jumping out. It's not jumping out. Yeah, it's not jumping out that they're amazing, but I would say their goaltending is better.
Yeah, for sure. Like, okay, Marc-Andre Fleury is better than...
And Robin Leonard. Robin Leonard's been pretty good.
Hey, Robin Leonard, Leafs legend. You know it.
Marley's legend.
He was here for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
At least you're getting bonus coverage now because Carolina just scored. Like, this series is so stupid. Like...
Listen, it is what it is. And I think that one thing that...
Yeah.
Like, here's my thing, is I hate that people put an asterisk on Tampa's win last year. And that people are putting an asterisk on this year's winner as well. Because I think that
I don't put an asterisk on either winner. You want to know? This is the thing. I don't put an asterisk on any winner. If you're able to win, you win. Like,
Exactly. And you won a 7-game series to win the cup. Like, that's literally how it works. It's like back in the day, we used to have, like, we had completely weird seating. We had 1 to 8 seating, and now we have division seating. Like, it literally...
I'm not going to lie, I like the 1 to 8 better. I like the 1 to 8 a lot better.
I like 1 to 8 better, too. But I think, like, one thing you could say is, if you like 1 to 8 better, you could say any year with division seating is automatically an asterisk. And I'm like, that's crap.
I don't give it that. I give the fact that I just like 1 to 8 better for the fact that it's who gets the most points. It's not, oh, well, this person can't make it in because their division is better than the other division.
Yeah.
Like, I just find it to be stupid. I just don't understand it. I think the 1 to 8 was always the best strategy. You can definitely go back to it now since you've got even teams. You've got 32 teams now, so you can go 16 teams make the playoffs, 16 don't. Like,
I'm just really, the only thing I'm really pissed about this year, because I think, like, with this year, with playing in your own division, especially in the North Division, is that every game means so much. Like, for me, it's game... 4 pointers it's 4 pointers every game. Yeah, exactly. And, like playing Ottawa is a struggle. Like, I went back to our record, and I was like...
Ottawa just killed you guys.
Who gave us the most trouble? And it was Vancouver and Ottawa of all teams, right? Like,
Vancouver at the start of the season really did not give you that much trouble. It was just they started to.
But like, no, I just remember when we did 3 over on the Oilers, and then we went to Vancouver and got slapped around. I'm like, like we got I think we got 2 points from 3 games or something like that, or maybe 3 points from 3 games, something crap like that from Vancouver of all teams. Right?
I know.
Like, I think that's, like, the moments where you see the old Toronto Maple Leafs coming out. The team that I remember, you know what's crazy? First Steve Dangle I ever watched, it was Florida Panthers. We had just beaten Tampa the night before, and then we went to play the Panthers, and we got played off the ice.
And the Panthers stunk. The Panthers stink.
That was when the Panthers stunk. And I'm like, that is the Leafs. Point, like, that
is
the... And you know what's crazy to me, too, is that I actually think that the Habs series is probably going to be our toughest series this year, based on our performance. I think our performance
just having to get through, finally getting through that bump in the road.
But like
that bump in the road they can never get through.
Like, in terms of performance level, I think this will be our worst series. Playing just because we seem to underperform against bad teams. Like, we seem to step down to their level, right? Like, if we play against the Tampa, there's 2 options. Either we get played off the ice, or we step up to their level, and we hang with them like we can, right?
And that's even if Tampa makes it out. Like, I think they will, looking at them, but Carolina is good.
Like, here's my thing, is I don't fear Carolina's goaltending as much as a lot of people do.
I don't fear Carolina, but they're that sneaky team that just... for some reason, always does it on you. But they are that team that is always scary in the playoffs because this season they have never put teams away. They just don't do it.
Yeah, no. But you know what the other thing about Carolina is that they don't have their playoff hero with Justin Williams anymore.
I know, Mr. Game 7.
And also, I think that they don't have the forward talent, personally.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I think they got the best defense in the league.
Like,
I think their goaltending
are amazing. Teravainen's alright. Like, it's not.
Yeah, I think their forwards are definitely. If you're looking at a matchup, say for the Leafs, well, I'll just put that as an example. Say Carolina makes it out and they play the Leafs in the Stanley Cup Finals, because that's what would happen. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
So say it's a Stanley Cup Final matchup. Carolina is worse on forwards. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
I think they got a little bit of depth, but not as much as the Leafs. Their defense, they're definitely better.
Yeah, their defense.
And their goaltending, I would say, is
comparable,
on par, or maybe a little bit less as good as the Leafs, depending on how well Jack Campbell plays.
Yeah, and do they still run Mrazek and Reimer? Is that their?
No, it's Mrazek, and the starter right now is Alexander Nedeljkovic.
Okay, so here's the thing: is Nedeljkovic sounds like a young guy to me.
He is a young guy. So, he is a young guy.
When it comes to playoffs, I don't really fear that, right? Like,
like
these guys. Don't get me wrong. Like, I respect Carolina wholeheartedly, but like when you ask me who I fear most in this playoffs, it's Montreal first, plain and simple. Yeah. Because if anyone is going to show up to beat the Leafs, it's Montreal. Like, seriously, if like, how do you, like, that's like when you're playing your biggest rival in minor hockey. You don't need to get motivated for that game.
Oh, no, you're going out there and you're just...
Like, if we, like, I remember playing Knights, and we would go to Waterloo, who were our, like, the only team outside of London that could hang with us, and we were, like, every single game, it was a battle. And it's like, you don't have to get up for that game. It could be 8 o'clock in Waterloo on a Wednesday night, right? And it does not matter. Does not matter.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you had those towns too when you played.
Mitchell.
Oh, okay.
I can see that. Mitchell.
We play them in baseball, so I could totally see that.
I hate Mitchell. I hate him. But but seriously, like, this is my thing. The one that I fear the most for the Leafs is, of course, the Canadians, because it's that hump that they just can't seem to get over with the
and that's teams with
first round.
That's the only two.
And then it's Tampa.
But that's like that. I'd just add any team with. Yeah. I'd just add. Okay, let's look at the list. I'd literally
it's Tampa. I would say Tampa, Vegas.
Yeah.
The Capitals are tough because their goaltending isn't really that good, but they're just it's the Capitals.
I'd honestly just add Tampa and Vegas and Winnipeg onto that because those are the three teams with crazy good goaltending, right? Like, plain and simple.
The only thing that scares me is the Leafs getting bullied around by like a Boston or getting bullied around by a.
Imagine we play Boston in the Cup final. Oh God, I would literally have an aneurysm.
You guys would win the Stanley Cup because Boston can't seem to do it.
I fear Boston, honestly. Like, I know Tuukka Rask is not the greatest in the world.
It's been Tuukka Rask. Like, it hasn't been Tuukka Rask.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, listen, I've never rated Tuukka Rask in the top 5 goalies in the league at any given point. So I'm like, listen, he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's a top-tier goalie, but, like, he's never...
He's good, but he's not great,
He's never been, like, that guy. And I know... Nor was Tim Thomas, let's be honest. But, like...
He's always decent in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's decent. But, like, I think that one thing that we Leafs fans do is that we, overhype our opposition because we're fearful about our own team's performance. And second is that we, like, overhype our own guys and expect a lot out of them. Like, I think that last year, I said it, the only guys who performed in the playoffs for me were, like, Matthews and Spezza. And maybe Hyman, too. Like, I didn't see Marner contributing as much as he should have. I didn't see Tavares, who, don't get me wrong, I love Tavares, has had a finishing issue this season. If anyone has had, like, how many good scoring chances has Tavares whiffed on this season? Like,
a lot.
And, like, listen, I am the biggest Tavares truther in the world. I love the guy. I watched him in junior. He's been one of those guys. He's, like, one of those guys that was an inspiration to me when I was younger, right? Like, he's one of those guys that he's just a class guy. Everyone wanted to be like him. It's not like he was always the best player in the world, but he was always just that class guy, head down, play hockey, have fun. That's who John Tavares is. And, like, I hate seeing him not being able to finish goals, and maybe that's because he doesn't have Marner around. Like, I look at...
That's what I hate. It's like, so... This is what I get, and a lot of Leaf fans I continue to say is like Austin Matthews is this great, amazing player, and Mitch Marner doesn't get the respect he deserves from a lot of Leaf fans.
You know what's so crazy too is the biggest thing about the Leafs that I love so much about the season is how many times has Mitch Marner's contract been mentioned this year?
Never.
Exactly. And I'm like, like, I know I was critical of the Marner contract when it happened. I was critical of the Matthews contract when it happened. You know what? At this point, I could care less. I could care less. Because they are amazing hockey players.
Yeah, but when I look at stuff, it's like, oh, Austin Matthews this, Mitch Marner doesn't get anything. Mitch Marner gets nothing. And it's just, it's such disrespect because, and I always want to say this to a lot of Leaf fans, it's like, I know Austin Matthews is a great goal scorer. Take Mitch Marner off his slide and see how he does.
Exactly.
Because he wouldn't get... Like, how many did he get this year? He got 41, right?
41 goals.
I think he maybe gets 30 with Marner. And especially injury. I think he gets about 30.
Yeah.
Again, to 30. Just because I think Marner has such a big impact. He puts Matthews in great positions, even when he had the wrist injury. Great positions to not take, like, those hard snapshots. Just get a tip or something. Stuff like that. Exactly. He creates... He's just so good, and he just doesn't get the respect he deserves because Auston Matthews is there scoring goals, and people love goals more than they love assists. It's just the fact.
I think we have seen the level between Nylander and Marner over the last 2 seasons, because how good was Tavares with Marner, and now how good is Tavares with Nylander? Don't get me wrong, Tavares is still nearly a point per game. Like, he's still a very, very good hockey player. So is Nylander. But at the same time, Marner's just that step above, man.
He's just so good. And that's why I hate, it's like he's never going to get any Hart votes because Matthews is always on the team. Goals matter more. And I just hate all these Leaf fans. Like, I see them on TikTok as well, and they're all like, oh, Auston Matthews is such a great player and all this. And they're like, he's better than Draisaitl. I'm like, I'm not going to deny he's not better than Draisaitl this year, but you just came out of the coop this year saying how good he was. Like, last year you're ragging on him.
Yeah, exactly. And I think well, first of all, you're saying TikTok instead of Twitter, which just shows how young we are. But second is
Twitter and TikTok, a lot of them are like, we had James Myrtle talking about how Auston Matthews was this amazing goal scorer because he was on this great pace, which it was an unbelievable pace. But Sportsnet had this list, and every time I saw it pissed me off because what they were doing was they were comparing Auston Matthews to Mario Lemieux and Alex Ovechkin, guys like that with his points, his goals per game season.
Lemieux also and of course, had Jágr, so you have to remember.
That's my thing. And Lemieux had Jágr. Ovechkin has Backstrom.
They have those guys, right? Like, they all have those guys.
And when I look at it, and I saw the list, and it was like, the Lemieux one at first made a lot of sense because Lemieux had only played like 43 games that season.
Yeah.
So like that one makes sense. But they were using an Ovechkin 82 game stat, which I just found to be a little bit disingenuous. I think they were using stats to build a narrative, and I just didn't like it per se because I'm like, I was like, because this is what I wanted to do, and I checked it out for just because I wanted to see what was going on, like what Ovechkin's pace was in the same amount of games as Matthews, and through 52 games. Ovechkin had 44 goals, and he ended up with 65. Like, he slowed down tremendously.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that Ovechkin, too, like, I think Ovechkin is one of those players that, doesn't get the respect that he deserves, but also, like, he's been doing it for so long, and I think that Matthews, don't get me wrong, Matthews is the most talented Leafs player I've ever had the beauty of witnessing play for my team. And I think that one thing that we can do is appreciate Matthews, but like you know me, I'm the like if
I'm gonna say it, I don't like Auston Matthews as a person. I think he's a bit overhyped. I think he's a bit overhyped as a player. I think without Marner, he wouldn't be the player that he is. But of course, everybody else has their guy like that. I don't think Backstrom is as good as Marner is, or like Backstrom is ever as good as Marner is. But
they still have those guys.
Guys, and it's a huge help. And Ovechkin was a huge power play guy. Same with Matthews. I think Matthews gets a lot of each strike goals, but power plays help. And Ovechkin's a huge power play guy.
Exactly. And I think when you look at it through the years, like, you know who my favorite Leafs players are. They're Tavares, Marner, and Mikheyev, right? Like those are my guys. And I think the other thing we need to recognize about Matthews and Marner is that they're 23 years old. Like, these guys, like I think the one thing I watched was, like, how long did it take Ovechkin and the Caps to get over the hump? Like, it was year after year.
It was years. And
that's why I'm so committed to staying the course, is because Tavares, I think, hits 30 this year, which is fine because someone with his play style can go for another 5 years at the top of his game. Because he doesn't need to be quick. He is so good at being in front of the net and tipping pucks and things like that. Like, I think we've seen that with other guys. I think Ovechkin's another guy like that because Ovechkin has never been a speed guy. He's going to hit you.
He's sit there and he's going to hit you. And remember when, I don't know if you remember this, but it was a little bit when we were younger. But they said after 2 or 3 years of Ovechkin being in the league, he ain't going to last any longer. He might last 2 or 3 more years the way he plays.
Yeah.
But he's obviously Ovechkin. He's a god. He's a robot. Like,
sports science is so great now too, though.
No, but I mean, like, the way that he played, he just shouldn't have been able to last that long. But he's Alexander Ovechkin. He's built different.
Yeah, and Tavares minus 2014 Olympics hasn't had a crazy long injury history either.
Yeah,
not like Matthews. But
this is my thing. Matthews is injury prone, and he
sorted it out this season. I think.
When this is my thing with Matthews is, does he retire early because he really doesn't care about to me, he doesn't really care about the game. He cares more about making the money. Like,
I never like saying that because I think that one thing that
it's a bit disingenuous. You don't know what somebody's thinking, but the way that he
carries
he carries himself, he seems like that. I'm not going to say that's exactly what he is, but the way he carries himself. But just and again, there was another stat that was brought up by Carlo Koliakov on Overdrive. And he's like, it was something about somebody when they got to like 23 years old or something. He was comparing Ovechkin to Matthews.
Yeah.
And it was something like at 23, Matthews had like 190, almost 200 goals, and like Ovechkin had like 215.
That's still like both of them are aliens though. Like I think that.
But I also looked at that stat. And it's like Ovechkin, and people say Matthews had a lot of injuries, so it might accumulate to what happened. But Ovechkin lost the season to a lockout because they were counting age, and I was like, that's just I always am like, just count games. Age is such a annoying thing to use because of a thing like that where you lose the lockout a full season, and Matthews maybe lost a full season just due to injuries. I feel like he's pretty close.
Yeah, and I think that one thing too, like the only time where comparing guys by age works is I think would be soccer.
Yeah.
Because you guys get in at different levels, right? Like some guys will start playing at 16, some guys will start playing at 22, right? So like like when it comes to hockey, I think the biggest thing too is I hate comparisons personally. Like, I absolutely hate comparing players. Like, people who say, oh, is Matthews better than Ovechkin at 23? I'm like, listen, they're totally different players. Matthews is a center, Ovechkin is a winger.
I think that Austin Matthews is a better two-way player at 23 than Alexander Ovechkin. I still think Alexander Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer of all time, and Austin Matthews will have to pass him to change that in my mind.
Yeah, and is he capable of that? Maybe, but it depends on what your priorities are. It depends
on get injured.
Yeah, it depends on injuries. It depends on so many different factors. I would prefer like Matthews focusing on winning, being a two-way guy, and winning 3 Stanley Cups with Toronto, rather than focusing on how many goals. Because I feel like since Ovechkin, and I feel like he's still committed to winning. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like since Ovechkin has won the Stanley Cup, like it's just been like the only focus has been how many goals am I scoring, and that is the worst thing.
I don't know if it's more him focusing on how many goals am I going to score, or whether it's the media being like how many goals are going to score.
Either way, like that's the only thing we have to work with, and I think that one thing with Ovechkin is you've seen his assist numbers drop. And you've seen him.
That's my thing. Ovechkin was never except in his rookie years and early years. He was similar to Matthews. They're both not good at assists. They just score.
How many assists did you think Matthews had this year?
Well, he had 41 goals. And he had 60-something points. So he had 27 assists, something like that.
He had 25.
26.
So listen, 25 assists for me is still a crazy amount of assists, and I think that
what's Ovechkin got? What's Ovechkin got per assist? Probably 15, maybe.
Let me find it. It's probably not as many as Matthews. Don't get me wrong.
No.
He had 18 assists. So listen, and he only had 24 goals this season. I know he lost.
Yeah, he didn't play as many games, stuff like that. Yeah.
But even still, he played a decent amount of games, and obviously he's slowing down, things like that. But at the same time, you have to recognize I'm focused on the here and now. I could care less if Matthews became the top goal scorer of all time. I think it would be cool, but I'd rather.
I don't think it's going to happen, but
I'd rather.
I think that Gretzky record is just
insane.
I don't think it's ever going to get caught. I think Matthews and Ovechkin both got screwed by these past 2 years of shortened seasons.
It's not going to get passed or beat until we get another alien and they shrink goalies' pads and stuff like that to make
and net get bigger, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not I feel like eventually they're going to do stuff like that.
But no, and then people are I do another thing that I hate about Leaf fans. So Austin Matthews should win the Hart. Those fans just are are you? They're just
McDavid. Yeah. It's McDavid.
I can't.
It's McDavid.
I can't with some of those fans. I can't with some of those fans. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
well, here's the thing: is you've known me for 2 years now, and like I would never say something so blasphemous. Like, I'd rather have Marner win the Hart than Matthews. Like, honestly, I think he has personally for me, I think Marner. I mean, I have no bias as I hold up my phone case, right? Like, I have no bias to. I have tons of bias towards Marner, but I think McDavid.
I would say Marner is more valuable to that team than Austin Matthews.
Because if you put Tavares up there, if you lost Matthews and you put Tavares up there, Tavares would put.
You'd be a winning team.
You'd be a winning team, but you'd also have Tavares would put up 85% of the production of Matthews.
Yeah.
If not closer to what he's put up this year. Maybe not as many goals, but he'd certainly put up more assists. So I mean Tavares had more assists with Nylander this season. So listen, going into the series, I think we're overthinking this a little bit. I think that, me, you're probably going to be texting me a bunch tomorrow during the game because I'm going to be losing my mind. But, I think that...
Well, you probably won't be because that team, that you guys should win. Like, it's I even told you last year with Columbus, I'm like, watch Columbus, I'm calling it, like...
Because, I wasn't confident last year.
No, I knew you were confident, but, there's so many Leaf, everybody just kept saying, there's no way Columbus is winning this series, and it's like, just wait. I
said, you'll remember what I said, is we should win this series.
Yeah.
But I am worried, because at the time, they had decent goaltending, they had a tough team, they had John Tortorella, who I rate higher as a coach than a lot of other guys.
Such a good coach.
Here's my thing, is I rate old school coaches really well. And you look at how old school coaches have done this season. Quenneville was the one I was going to go to. How bad were Florida last year? They've stepped up their game a ton, right?
They were just behind the Leafs.
Yeah. And the Islanders, how are the the Islanders have been
Trotzy, baby. Trotzy.
On paper, they've been crap for the last 4
years. They don't even have Anders in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I know, and they're still doing well, right? I mean, the only thing I'm hoping for tonight is that the Lakers lose. So against the Warriors,
I know.
Crazy.
Yeah, give me some Shep Curry over here.
If they win that game, he wins the MVP. But let's not talk about basketball.
No, he won't. Jokic.
Well, okay, I would vote for Curry because I think he deserves it.
I would too, but no. When I look at this series, I look at the Leafs should win the series, and I think 5 or 6.
I want it to be 4 so bad, so I can just post brooms on my Insta story and just
100%. I just even in that Carolina series, which I think is the clear and cut easiest one to say that one would be a sweep. I have a tough time even saying that one's gonna be a sweep just because sweeps are just
they're difficult.
So hard to come by, and I just don't think the Leafs can do that. I think the Leafs are good, but I just think one of those games they're going to put in Freddie Anderson, and he's going to not play well, and then the Leaf fans are going to be mad, and then they're going to be like, "Why did we play Freddie? Why didn't we just play Jack?"
Yeah, I think that they have the stats. Listen, I know we go off of save percentage and we go off all those stats.
Yeah. They got way bigger analytics than we do.
Yeah, so. Listen, I am I'm not an analytics guy. I'm more of an eye test guy.
I hate analytics. I'm like, if analytics works so well, if and the Leafs would be 5-time Stanley Cup champions,
the Leafs could have 5 xG a game and score 2 goals.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your expected goals doesn't matter because you could have guys. Because
you could have Marc-Andre Fleury or someone like that just absolutely steal it from you.
You could have Kasperi Kapanen on 6 breakaways in a game, and all that happens is that Carey Price gets a sore chest the next day, right? It doesn't mean anything, right? I think with this team, and if there's with analytics, I think that we put too much onus on analytics and not enough on the eye test. And I think that one thing that the eye test has taught me is that I rate Galchenyuk really highly because I think that he works harder than a lot of the other guys on this team. And I think that he has proven to be one of those really good players that has stepped up for this team. And I look at a guy like Brooks where I'm like, okay, maybe the analytics are favorable to him, or Engvall, are the analytics are favorable to him. I'm not going to put them in the same category because Brooks has been better than Engvall this season. But like,
100%, yeah.
But like Engvall, let's say the analytics on Engvall are great. Dude hasn't done crap this year. Same with Cody Ceci last year when they're saying Cody Ceci has good analytics. What planet are you living on? Guy was with Morgan Riley all season. If anything, last year, Morgan Riley was just getting weighed down by an 1,000-pound anchor last season.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen how much freedom he can have with a guy like Brody, which I think Riley has turned into this like guy who not a lot of people
Tyson Barrie. He's turned into Tyson Barrie. Like not as bad as last year, but like he's an offensive defenseman that isn't really that great in the defensive zone.
Yeah, I think he's serviceable in the defensive zone.
Yeah, like, he's a Tyson Barrie, basically.
But, like, a guy like TJ Brody, who, you know what the greatest thing as a defenseman is, and, you know, I was a defenseman, is that when you aren't the focus, when people don't know you're on the ice, that is the best thing for a defenseman, because nothing's happening, because your job is to keep the puck out of your own net. Brody is amazing at being invisible. Right?
No one noticed. Like I never noticed when TJ Brody's on the ice. Like I don't know when he's on the ice.
He couldn't have picked a more generic number to get missed in, like 78 or whatever.
78. Like Adi, I can't see you. Like what is that?
But like when he's out there, I'm like okay, we're good. Like we're safe. It's like same thing with a guy like Hall, where I'm like Hall is someone that you notice more because he does have a little bit more gaffes than Brody. But at the same time, him and Muzzin are great.
Back him up.
Yeah.
He's got Muzzin to back him up. Same thing. Like this is my thing. I would rather say that you play like Dermott and Bogosian over Sandin because you need that Bogosian guy that's going to be back there. He's going to make sure that there's a defensive defenseman back there. If Dermott makes a bad pinch like he did in Game 3 against Columbus.
And you know what's crazy is I read something today and they were thinking of Bogosian Sandin as a pair.
Even that. I think that could be a good idea.
Better. I'd say that's better than...
I think it's even a better idea. I'm just saying you need someone like Bogosian that is going to be back there because you don't want a Sandin pinch to screw you over like a Dermott one from Game 3 against Columbus last year. Like, Dermott made so many bad pinches in that series last year.
I don't rate Dermott crazy highly there. And, listen, I like him. He's a good dude, but I don't think he's someone Can I
have you look at something over here? Erik Gustafsson was in the practice lineup. Erik Gustafsson.
Yeah, and
he wouldn't sniff the Leafs lineup. He wouldn't sniff the lineup.
No. I mean, we have a solid 7 defenseman. They did say Merrill was going to be their 7th defenseman too.
Yes, John. Yes, the former Detroit Red Wing baby.
But
represent.
Like I think that when you look at it, the only defenseman that I fear on Montreal is Romanov.
And he's not playing.
He might not be. He's practicing. Like, we don't know what they're going to do.
He's not playing Game 1.
Okay, but, like, you know...
It's already been confirmed he's not playing Game 1.
You know what I mean, though, is he might feature in the series. So I'm like...
Oh, 100%.
So I'm...
I think he's playing... I think... No offense, if I'm like, some of Montreal's players, I'd lose Game 1 and basically be like, get these 3 guys back in the lineup, you...
Well, you're not going to purposely lose, but I think...
No, but I mean, like, you idiot. Like, Dominic Ducharme, I don't know what he thinks he's doing here. Like,
I mean, maybe...
I understand they want to be a hard-nosed team, but you're going to get rid of Cole Caulfield, who can score. You're going to get rid of Kotkaniemi, who can create plays. You're going to get rid of Romanov, who's probably your only offensive defenseman.
Yeah. I mean,
like, there's Jeff Petrie, but come on, Jeff Petrie, like...
I mean, here's my Cole Caulfield slander, is the guy only scores tap-ins in overtime. So, like, let's be honest there.
It wasn't a tap... Yeah, fair, but, like, you need a guy that's... Like, this is my thing, though. You need a guy that's going to be there, clutch, scoring.
A spark plug. You need someone who's going to bring energy. You know who that was for us last year? Nick Robertson.
Yeah.
So...
But you just need, like, a guy that's going to clutch scoring. Doesn't have to be the best player. Like, you see in the playoffs, like... I don't know who. I'm pretty sure like it was Nick Dowd that scored the goal for Washington to put them up 2-1, and
yeah.
So guys just show up. Like the fourth line for Washington has been amazing, and like this playoffs, like that's what happens. You just need some guys that are going to step up, and maybe Lehkonen or Anderson can be that guy or something. Like Josh Anderson can step up. Maybe Eric Staal with that veteran presence shows up for them.
Yeah, here's my thing: is the guys that I fear most on
Gallagher
are Gallagher, Tatar, Anderson, and Suzuki. And the reason I say I don't fear Toffoli, and I'll tell you why, is because I think Toffoli is someone who's great at getting in good positions to get easy goals, and Suzuki is the.
It's like Austin Matthews. It's like he needs his player to give him the puck.
He needs Suzuki, and like one thing that I know is that Suzuki is the real problem on each line. Like if you told me,
Suzuki is just a menace.
Yeah, dude. Like I'm obviously biased because I played against his brother, but like
the guy is a menace.
The dude is a great player. Like I don't. He is a spark plug. He's like Nick Robertson 2.0. Like he is better. I'd say he's better than Nick Robertson, but like obviously, but like the guy is just that spark plug. He's always working. He does both ends of the ice really well. He's a great playmaker. He's got a crafty little shot on him. Like he's a great player. And like if anyone on that Toronto or on that Montreal team is to build around, it's Suzuki. Now, I don't think Suzuki can be a top line center on a championship winning team, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. But it's like Dylan Larkin. It's like Dylan Larkin.
He's almost like I could see him being like a Backstrom type because like it took Kuznetsov to win them that championship, right? Like you need that
I was gonna say a joke, but it's not PG rated, so
yeah, fair enough. Oh,
white powder man.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Just search up Kuznetsov and why he got a ban from Russian hockey. Anyway.
He's still doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that one thing that you look at the Leafs and you look at the Canadiens is like, who's going to win you a series? And it's Matthews. Matthews is the guy that I could see as winning this series single-handedly.
Yeah.
He's like... I mean, Marner is going to help with that, but
my scary thing is if Austin Matthews goes cold, it would be bad. Like that's a scary thing. I just don't think he is going to go cold. Like that's my thing with it. He's just not going to go cold, and the only way that I feel like the Leafs lose, and I'm going to keep repeating it, is they get goalie. It's the only way.
Yeah, and
it's the only way. In the first 2 rounds, it's the only way because there's not a team that I think is comparable to them in the North Division.
Yeah, for sure. Either way, we'll end this stream now because I think that we've been talking for like an hour, and that's basically how long I wanted it to go. We'll do series prediction. How many games and who's winning the series?
So, as much as I hate to say it, I'm going to say the Leafs in 6.
Okay. That's a little more games than I would like, personally.
Brad Marchand just scored. Oh, the rat.
Honestly, I hope Boston wins that series because I'm just annoyed at Tom Wilson.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I know you're saying that's too many games, but
that's more games than I'd want it to be. I'm not saying.
I think it's 1 or 2. I think they can get 1 or 2. I just think 6 is just that sweet number.
It is the sweet number in hockey, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say Leafs in 4 because I am.
That's what you want, yeah.
That's what I want, and I could see it happening personally.
I could 100% see it. I can 100% see it happening. I just with the back-to-back situation, I just think that they're gonna one of those games they're gonna put Anderson in the net just to see what they got, and
if the Leafs can beat themselves though, that's the issue. Is the Leafs the onus is on the Leafs. They are in charge of their own destiny. If they don't show up, they lose. If they do show up, they win handily. That's just how the series works, plain and simple.
It is, and that's how the series will work in the next series, in my opinion. They show up, they win. If they don't, they're gonna lose.
Anyway, thank you guys for everyone that tuned in. I think everyone has left by this point, but thank you guys for tuning in. That was fun. We'll have to do this more probably when the Leafs are out. I'll probably stream right after that, and you can laugh at me. But and we'll do a draft lottery stream just to annoy you.
June 2nd for the draft lottery.
I will mark that down on my calendar. Anyway, let's get this